And welcome to the Redmen TV. It's daily news time. It's Tuesday the 14th of August. Some big stories actually to talk about. I think obviously we're going to talk about Mo Salah, we're going to talk about Ragnar Klavan, Marco Grujic, rule changes in the Carabao Cup, Liverpool's fixture with Tottenham Hotspur, away fixture with Tottenham Hotspur, and maybe a couple more. Obviously at the end of the news I'll dive into the comments section. We'll talk to you guys and answer any questions and stuff, so get your questions coming in on each of the topics that we discuss, and then obviously if you want to ask other things, you just go for it. It's absolutely fine. So I'm actually on Reuters here. Liverpool refers Salah to police over alleged phone use while driving. So Liverpool have referred Mohamed Salah to the Merseyside police over a video which appears to show the Egyptian using his mobile phone while driving. A little bit mad this one. The club, after the discussion with the player, have made Merseyside police aware of the footage and the circumstances surrounding its capture, an LFC spokesperson told British media. We have spoken to the player also, and we will deal with any follow-up internally. Neither the club or the player will be making any further comment on this matter. So if you haven't seen it, it was a video that was put out on Twitter where it appears to show Mo Salah stopped in his car at traffic lights or something close to the ground, and he appears to be using his mobile phone. Now, Merseyside police have since tweeted, "We have been made aware of a video believed to show a footballer using a mobile phone whilst driving. This has been passed to the relevant departments." Now, I think everybody's a little bit like, whoa, what's going on here? And your first response is to probably get backed up and stuff like that. It's one of them, innit? I mean, I don't know what will happen to Mo Salah in regard to this, whether he'll get a driving ban or a fine, or I think it's just points and a £200 fine normally, something like that. And you don't know what Liverpool are going to do, and if they're not going to make another comment on it, it's probably going to be pure speculation. It's one of them things, isn't it? I mean, you're not supposed to do it, you shouldn't do it, you take your eyes off the road. But then I'd hazard a guess that most people in the world do it, and I'm not condoning it in any way, shape or form. It absolutely shouldn't be done. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say on that one, to be honest with you. I mean, it's obviously you're not just endangering yourself, you're endangering other people as well, and you shouldn't do that, quite honestly. So we'll move on. Liverpool consider offers for Ragnar Klavan. Sorry, Liverpool 2 consider offers for Ragnar Klavan as Reds continue the August sales. So obviously the UK or English transfer window is now shut, but players from around Europe can still purchase players up until the 31st of August. 32-year-old centre-back played 53 times for Liverpool since his signing. Going into the final year of his contract, Liverpool apparently have the option to renew that by another 12 months, but it looks like the former Augsburg, the central defender, is going to be moved on. Apparently he wants more first-team football. Jurgen Klopp seems to be happy with the centre-back options. Matip is sort of back in training, I believe, or very close to being back in training. Lovren's injury will only be a few weeks. Joe Gomez put in a good performance at the weekend. Virgil van Dijk, there's obviously no issues over. And then we've got the emergence of youngster Nat Phillips in pre-season as well. Liverpool apparently rejected a bid from Newcastle right up close to the transfer deadline. I think that was more to do with, didn't really understand the injuries to Lovren and maybe how close Matip was, but it looks now likely that Klavan could be moved on. And I'll tell you what, I don't normally give my opinion on these, but I've got to say, I'd be a little bit disappointed to see him go. I think he's not really, everyone always talks about that Burnley game, but really, I think he's been a really good sort of steward for Liverpool, and he's never going to be a first choice centre-back for us because we harbour ambitions of getting close to the title or winning the title this season, but he's always played well for me. I think, you know, centre-backs and defenders can always have a sort of, can always sort of make mistakes, and really, considering he's played 53 times for us, I don't think he's made many mistakes. He always felt like, it's probably the wrong expression, but a safe pair of hands whenever he's taken to the field. You know, an experienced professional as well, clearly looks after himself off the field. I will be a little bit sorry to see him go, especially, you know, from my point of view, it's Lovren always seems to get these injuries or sicknesses. Matip's exactly the same. So it looks like you're heading into the season, really, although Joe Gomez has only played one game at centre-half for us. With Joe Gomez, who has also had his injury problems over the last couple of years while he's been with us. One guy in Virgil van Dijk, touch wood, who doesn't really tend to get injured, but the other three all have sort of question marks over them, and Ragnar Klavan doesn't have those question marks. It'll be interesting to hear what you guys think and girls think in the comment section below, so do get your comments coming in, so I'll read some of them out for me later on. Moving on, another little bit of news, Carabao Cup rule changes, so they're looking to scrap extra time. Any games will go straight to penalties. Those penalties will not be ABBA anymore, the snake method. They're going back to the traditional ABAB. So they take a penalty, you take a penalty. They take a penalty, you take a penalty. Now, apparently the ABBA method, they take a penalty, you take a penalty, you take a penalty, they take a penalty, was just a little bit confusing for everybody. That's the reason that they've given. So I wonder whether some of these, fans from other football teams are like, boo! Oh, that's us. Sorry about that. I look at the guy in the kit. You can probably tell who's your player and not. Anyway, I don't think it's confusing. I don't particularly like it. I'm kind of happy that it's gone back to AB, but that's the way that it is. It looks like the seeding system for rounds 1 and 2, which doesn't really affect Liverpool, will be going away as well. Other changes, I think the extra time one's probably a good one, isn't it? Because there is a worry and a concern about people's fatigue nowadays, and midweek cup matches and stuff like that. There is a concern about players and how they recover, and do they have enough time to recover for the Premier League games and all that type of stuff. Obviously, another one that's changed is the yellow card rule. Yellow cards picked up in the EFL Cup now, or the Carabao Cup, sorry, will only count towards Carabao Cup competition, so they won't be carried over into a Premier League. Vice versa, that also means that, sometimes you'd see a guy pick up a yellow card because he'll miss that sort of Carabao Cup. That won't happen the other way around anymore, so it's both an advantage and a disadvantage, I suppose. And I think that's really it now. And VAR technology was obviously used last season in the semi-finals and the final of the Carabao Cup. If any game is going to be held at a Premier League ground, VAR will be used every single time now. That's the other big change. Let me know your thoughts on that and the VAR and stuff in the comment section below. Final piece of news really is Tottenham's home clash with Liverpool will now be held at Wembley. It makes sense to me. They've obviously got safety fears, but I think, the biggest fear that Tottenham had is Liverpool spanking them in their brand new ground and that being in history books forever. And I think that's a very real possibility. So, listen, Tottenham and Pochettino and everyone can tell me it's because they haven't got the safety certificates. They can tell me that the stadium's not ready yet. But really, we all know you don't want a spanking in your brand new ground from this Liverpool side on the first game. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Come at me, Tottenham. No? Sounds all right then. Obviously I jest that they're a good side. It'll be an incredibly difficult game regardless of where it's played. But, it's got to be disappointing for Tottenham. First of all, let's think about it sort of from the beginning almost. Tottenham tried to build a stadium in a year. That is an incredible reach, isn't it? No other side has ever tried to do that. No other side has built on an existing patch of ground where the old stadium was. I think I'm right in saying that nobody's ever attempted this before. So, to knock down an old stadium and completely rebuild a new stadium in 1 year, even that they've come this close is a feat of engineering, if you ask me. I think, how long did Wembley take to build? I mean, it's got to have been 5 years, something like that. I mean, these stadiums...
It was already mostly built before they knocked White Hart Lane down.
They'd started building because it was built at like a 45-degree angle to it, but they still you're not talking 4 or 5 years here. You're talking a year and a bit, maybe. An incredible feat, even if they do manage to delay it by a couple of months. And they do have the option actually to go to Wembley all season. And they might have to do that if there are a safety fears and stuff, which would be mad, wouldn't it? I think, so Liverpool are going to be playing another game at Wembley. Hopefully it won't be the last game at Wembley this season. Hopefully we'll have a couple more, 3 more, if the Carabao Cup final's still out there. Obviously the semi-finals and the final of the FA Cup will be there. So there you go. They've actually moved an NFL game as well. I think it was the Seahawks, Raiders, maybe. Definitely the Seahawks. Can't remember if they were playing the Raiders or not. Okay, move on. Enough NFL, enough Tottenham Hotspur talk. Marco Grujic in talks over... Liverpool in talks over questionable loan deal for Marco Grujic. Let's find out about this one. Russian Premier League side CSKA Moscow are looking for a season-long loan for, and I quote, peripheral midfielder Marco Grujic, says Jack Lusby of This Is Anfield. He was actually at our live show in Dublin last week. First time I've ever met him. Nice guy. Grujic was left out of Klopp's matchday squad against West Ham. Depth in reserve in the Reds midfield ranks lead the 22-year-old in a difficult position this August with a temporary switch to Cardiff already breaking down. Cardiff manager Neil Warnock explained this was due to a contract issue, not the fact like everybody thinks that he just didn't want to play for Warnock again because he'd lived that life. So yeah, apparently CSK and Moscow and Liverpool are now negotiating a deal which would see Grujic spend the campaign with CSK before returning to Merseyside next summer. They claim the talks at an advanced stage with the player having expressed an interest in making the switch. I've got to be honest, it doesn't feel like there is room for Marco Grujic in this midfield. I think Jurgen Klopp's come out and spoken about Marco Grujic and says that he likes him and does believe in him. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments section below. Final piece of news today. Xherdan Shaqiri turned down Jose Mourinho in order to work with Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp. Not going to be able to ever say that without a smile on my face or a slight smirk. Yeah, wingers enjoyed a positive start to life according to the Echo at Anfield, but was also interested in Man United. Reports suggest Shaqiri rejected the chance to play for Manchester United and Mourinho in order to work with Klopp, according to reports in Switzerland, which is exactly what you want, isn't it? Players turning down working for that beaut in order to work for our beautiful manager, Jurgen Klopp. So I'm going to get into the comments, mate. Got anything to get me going with, mate?
RJS11 says he was only on his phone because he didn't know where to look because parents were sending kids to knock on his window and the club said don't sign anything.
He literally could have looked at his steering wheel if he wanted to be honest with you. I'm not going to get involved in those types of things. I disagree with the behaviour of the people from outside the car in much the same way as I disagreed with the behaviour around the Carragher incident earlier on, but equally I disagreed with Carragher's behaviour and I disagree with Mo Salah's as well. That's my opinion. I'm sorry if it's so black and white.
Quite a few people on Klavan and they had pretty much the same thing. So Connor Edwards said Raggy can't go, his experience could be invaluable at points this season. And Rahul says don't sell Klavan until we sign another centre-back. We need the depth and those lovely step-overs from Big Red.
Oh, those step-overs will be sorely missed, won't they? I mean, the lad's just like... He's up there with Lionel Messi, isn't he? You know what I mean? For skills on the football field. And I think when you take, you know, when you look at both players' careers between Ragnar and Lionel, I think they're comparable, aren't they? I think Ragnar's just a beautiful human being with a great turn. Sorry, David Hewitt says, quit shaking, Chris. I can't, mate. I drink so much coffee and I am constantly, it's annoyed people in my life forever. And once you see it, look, there's another one, Surajaz. Yeah, I know. There's loads. I always do it like, do you know what I mean? The shot must be showing it a little bit different. I'll try and stop, okay?
I think it's the chair. I think that
it's the chair. Yeah, it's the chair, like. So I basically annoy everybody in my life. Chris, you're always shaking your leg at these rumours about Klavan having an impact on your nerves, says Gareth Jackson. I think that's what it might be. I think I didn't know this, but I think my life is intrinsically linked to Ragnar Klavan. And unfortunately... New studio powered by Chris's leg. All right. Bloody hell. Have you seen my legs before? That's why the muscles are so big on them. I work them out 24 hours a day. It's not really. I've got a Smith arse. It's in the family.
So onto the EFL Cup stuff. GV, I get your name wrong every single time. It's just a load of letters. Game and guy. Getting rid of extra time could be detrimental to the bigger teams as the small sides will just play for draws and try and win on penalties. Yeah,
it's a good it's a good point, isn't it? But then equally the small sides always wanted to take them back to their place anyway to get that little bit of a payday. And I'm not sure how that money works with the Carabao Cup, but I know in the FA Cup obviously you do get a real big advantage from having home games. I'm sure it's probably the same. If anyone could let me know in the comments, that would be cool. But also it places more emphasis on the draw, doesn't it? I think, you want those home draws. They're more important now because you're going to have a big advantage, especially, if it goes to a draw and then it goes to penalties. It could be a massive advantage playing that at home anyway. Geordie LFC, Chris, would you give Grujic a chance? Is it too late now that we've bought in Keita and Fabinho? Listen, I don't see where he fits in that midfield, the way that midfield plays. Like, I've done a 54-minute stats and tactics show on the website. It's just gone live about 10 minutes before the the video went live today. I've just looked at my watch, like I wear one, like, yeah, it's just 10 minutes ago, 10 past that freckle there. And we looked at Liverpool's midfield, and I spent like the best part of half an hour looking at Naby Keita's performance and analysing his performance on the website. And, you know, I just don't see that Marco Grujic is going to be able to do that and be able to affect the football match in the same way that someone like a Naby Keita can his first game for Liverpool. He's green, but his ceiling's probably not as high as the lad that we've got. And I think, you know, maybe that's a little bit harsh. He obviously can improve and develop, but right now he seems like he's the wrong player for our system. I hope that sounds fair, but, you know, not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. Kind of logic, says Klavan on Redmen TV. Steve's in today, actually, yeah. We're doing the podcast today. Looks kind of like Klavan.
Desmond Mack says, would you like a 4-2-3-1 with our front three as the three and Sturridge ahead? I think it's a top idea, more defensive needed though.
I've always liked that 4-2-3-1 with Firmino in the 10, but it's just Firmino's so good in the 9 now. It'd be a little bit nuts to sacrifice him there. Obviously, he got so close to 30 goals last season. Mane got 20. Salah got like 44 or something, and that was based around that front three playing the way that they were. Would you get the same out of it? Are you putting too much stress and strain on Daniel Sturridge's body? Who knows? I kind of like, and I kind of be interested to see Shaqiri in the 10 more with that front three, the way it normally plays in a 4-2-3-1, or even Mane in the 10. I've got a feeling Mane would be able to play that because he takes up those positions on the football field anyway. And I think when you look at it, maybe Shaqiri could drop into that left-hand side. Maybe. Mane playing the 10, Salah from that right-hand side as he normally is. That would be quite an interesting one for me. Mane in the 10 would kind of remind me of Sterling in the 10 when he played there for us. And I thought Sterling did an incredible job in that 10 when he played for us, probably his best position for us, actually. I'd definitely like to see the 4-2-3-1, but would I swap it for the 4-3-3 right now? Nah, because we're so fluid and we're so good and dynamic in that 4-3-3 that, like, you know, you come out first game of the season, you snot a team 4-0. Would it take a couple of months to train into that 4-2-3-1? Probably. Would you damage your chances of a tilt of the title? Probably. Then why would you do it? You wouldn't, I suppose, is where I'm at on it. So there we go. Anything else?
So yeah, something kind of on that. The Turkey Fish, if we're chasing a game, we could play Shaqiri as the 10, Sturridge as the striker. We have so many options now. That's
the beautiful thing about this squad, isn't it? I think, you know, we've got options in terms of midfielders anyway, you know, especially when they're all fit. And I won't include Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in this discussion because he probably will miss the rest of the season. But with Henderson, with Keita, with Fabinho, with Milner, with Adam Lallana, you've definitely got a rotation of players there that could be incredibly strong. And I suppose this links into Tom O'Rourke's question, strongest midfield, Chris. I've no idea. I think, you know, right now it probably looks like Henderson in the 6 maybe. Keita and Wijnaldum. Keita and Milner is the 2-8s. But is that the strongest midfield to go against a Manchester United or a Manchester City? Probably not. Fabinho's probably in there with that, you know, a little bit more steel in the centre of the park. So there's definitely, like, there's going to be different midfields for different types of teams that we come up against, and that's what we need to do. You know, this is the beauty of this league. It's one of the hardest leagues in the world, not only because they're so competitive, because there's so many different styles of football. You've still got a few long ball teams. You've got teams like Cardiff who are just going to lump the ball into the box from free kicks and throw-ins, and a bit of a throwback to yesteryear. And you've got teams like, you know, Manchester City who play complete tiki-taka. You've got counter-attacking teams who sit back. You've just got absolutely everything. And it's why it's the hardest league in the world, in my opinion, to win, is because you've got to be able to beat all of those teams. And Liverpool haven't been able to beat all of those teams consistently over the years, which is why we've never won the Premier League. Whereas someone like Pep Guardiola's Manchester City side, their plan A is so good that it just seems to be able to work against everything. And I think we're getting to the point now where our plan A is so good that we're going to be able to beat everything, but maybe just a change of personnel continues, you know, that hopefully that rich vein of thorn. Keita in the 10, good shout from Sarah Smith. Definitely be interested to see that bad boy. What's this? Oh, is that the no space on memory card? Is that what you were fixing a minute ago?
Yeah, I checked it before and there was 10 gig left, so...
Apologies. Yeah. Have you got it sorted now?
Yeah, it's fine. Jack Wood says, do you think Moreno will be good enough if Robertson gets injured?
Yeah, I do. I could probably look around the league and look at the, you know, the backup fullbacks that we've got compared to everybody else. I think we're in a really strong position with that. And, you know, of course you can go, well, you know, if Robertson goes down, you've only got Moreno. It's the way of the world. You know, not everybody's got, we're in a privileged position this season where we've got probably 3 really strong right backs in Trent, in Gomez even, and in Nathaniel Klein, and 2 really good left backs in Moreno and Andrew Robertson. And then, you know, Joe Gomez played left back for us a couple of years ago and he was good as well. Nobody else has really got that strength and depth. The drop off would be quite significant, but I don't think it would hinder us too much in terms of points on the board and being able to score goals. And, you know, it is what it is. Moreno's not as good as Andrew Robertson, but then I'd worry more about an injury to Roberto Firmino or Mo Salah than I would about Andrew Robertson. So there you go. That's been the Daily News Show for today. I've enjoyed that. It's been a nice show. Thank you very much for everybody getting involved. Don't forget to leave your comments if you're not watching it live in the comments section on anything we've discussed. Like the video, of course. Anybody watching live, please stop now. Like the video. It just helps us out. And then if you're interested in watching that stats and tactics video, 54 minutes on Liverpool beating West Ham 4-0. It's one of the most popular shows we do now on the redmentv.com. Feedback's normally fantastic. Hopefully it'll be fantastic again. It really does. I do buzz off the community that we're building up over on the website. It makes me proud every single day. And it's all essentially because of them that we're still here on YouTube. We just wouldn't be able to exist in the same way if it wasn't for people supporting us on the website. It's just £5 a month if you do want to get involved and show your support for the Redmen TV project. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.